In this video, I'm going to explain the 5 steps that have enabled me to grow my car detailing business to over $30,000 in a single month. Now, these aren't some crazy ideas. These are some pretty simple, easy to implement strategies that you can start implementing today to scale your detailing business to the next level. Now, I'm not some unicorn who has been able to do this because I have some special skills. I'm just a normal person who has gone through the everyday struggle of growing a business just like you. I've been there wondering where my next customer was going to come from, wondering how to get my calendar booked out, wondering why people aren't paying for my premium prices. I know exactly why or how you're feeling, and I've been in every single situation there is when it comes to scaling and growing a car detailing business. I've been able to take my detailing business from zero to over $30,000 in 30 days in the space of about 8 months. Now, I've built multiple detailing businesses, from a car wash that I set up when I was 18 years old to a mobile detailing business that I grew to over $100,000 in the first year of operating, to now running a premium car detailing shop, which was only opened 8 months ago and has now hit $30,000 in a single month. This month alone, right, this is the 21st of July that I'm filming, we're sitting at about $25,000 revenue for the month. We're going to do over $35,000 this month, okay? This doesn't just work for me. I've been able to help countless clients go from zero or just a few $1,000s per month to over $10,000 in a single month, $20,000. I now work with a client who has done over $43,000 in a single month, and I help them start from zero. It is safe to say that I know what I'm talking about, and the strategies I'm about to reveal inside of this video can help you grow to the next level. Stick around to the very last one because it is one of the most important, and if you only stay for 4, what is the point in even watching this video? So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, strategy number 1 is to simplify your services and offer just one, or focus on just one, high ticket service, okay? Our business turned around overnight when I started focusing on pushing a higher ticket service. Why? Well, that's because when you sell a higher price service, you typically do less work and make more money. Okay, now the service I'm specifically talking about is a ceramic coating service, one of the most profitable services you can offer as a car detailer. Okay, because when you offer ceramic coating services with, say, paint correction, you're not only making the vehicle look so much better, you're also offering valuable protection to the paintwork, okay, which doesn't have a price tag on it, because people's car is their pride and joy. People look at their vehicle and they have so much pride, especially when it looks beautiful and when it is protected for the long term, okay? This is why you can charge an arm and a leg for these services, okay? Now, obviously, there's a market rate, but rather than doing 10 interior details at $200, per service, okay, and only making $2,000 and spending hours and hours and even days doing that work, you could do 2 ceramic coating jobs worth $1,000 each and do them in less than half the time, make more money, and not have a sore back. Okay, trust me, when you start focusing on offering these high ticket services, you're going to thank me later, because let's just say I would rather do 10 ceramic coating jobs per month, okay, and make $10,000, okay, because let's say I charge each of them at $1,000, and have 20 days off, because each of them is only going to take a day. Right, so that's 10 days you're working out of the month. You've made your $10,000, and you can have 20 days off if you want to do it like that. Or like how we operate our business, we want to be working every single day. So we're trying to scale to, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 per month with this business. Again, it's only been open about 8 months and we're at $30,000. It can definitely double from here. Now, the main service we offer, like I said, is a paint correction and ceramic coating service. We push these on every single customer. You might be thinking, well, how do you sell those? Well, that's another story. But essentially, you just have to ask the question, hey, Would you be interested in a ceramic coating? Have you ever heard of a ceramic coating? These are the benefits of a ceramic coating. Focus on it, right? When you put your attention on something, right? When you focus on something enough, then generally you go towards that direction, right? You typically will go there. Like if you go out there and you think, like, let's just say you're driving around, okay? And you start thinking about red cars, like just go and do this test. It's a really fun test that I like to do. Go outside and just think about red cars. I guarantee you are going to start seeing so many red cars out there, right? And it's because, like, before you started thinking about red cars, they blended in with all the other cars, right? So that it didn't look like they stood out. Like it didn't look like there was a crazy amount of red cars out there, okay? But when you start focusing on red cars, when you start thinking about red cars, all you're going to see are red cars, and it's going to look like there's just like maybe like more than usual. Like, why is there so many red cars out there? And it's just simply because you're focusing on it, right? You're putting all your attention onto that specific color of car. The same goes for ceramic coating services. If you can put all of your attention and focus onto offering just this one service, you are going to sell them like no tomorrow. It is just how this works. Plus, you just keep your service list much more simplified, right? And it also makes you look like the expert in that service. Think about it like this. If you want to hire a photographer for your wedding, okay, who are you going to hire? The guy that markets himself as all-round photographer, or the person who markets himself as wedding photographer, right? You're going to choose the person who markets himself as a specialized wedding photographer because they're going to take way better photos. Well, the perceived value of the photos that they are going to take is going to go up because, they are the expert because they market themselves in that specific niche. Same goes for ceramic coatings. If someone's out there looking to protect their vehicle, they want to get it looking immaculate, do you think they're going to go and choose the guy who advertises himself as all-round detailer or the person who advertises himself as ceramic coating specialist? Simple as that, okay? When we made the switch to really focus on pushing ceramic coatings, our revenue skyrocketed. We went from struggling to make $10,000 a month to now making over $30,000 in a single month, okay? Now, like, you might be thinking, oh, but what if someone, doesn't want to pay? Like, how do I get people to pay those prices? People say that it's too expensive, Why would someone want to use, me as opposed to someone else? That's when it comes down to your branding and how you market yourself, how you position yourself in the market. If you look like a generic detailer like everyone else, then of course people are going to think you're a generic detailer. If you look like a premium car detailer who specializes in ceramic coatings, then people are going to think you're a premium car detailer, even if you're not. What determines a premium car detailer, right? Is it their skill set? Or is it their branding and their image? What they're actually perceived, what you perceive them as. That's what determines a premium car detailer. Someone that pulls up in a nice van, that has nice sign writing, that wears a uniform, all of their branding is consistent across everything, their website, their uniform, their flyers, their business card, right? Their marketing, how they run their ads, what actually is displayed in their ads, how they post on social media, what they post on social media, okay? This is all about perceived value. So if you're out there trying to charge premium prices, but your branding, right, the perceived image doesn't represent those premium prices, then of course people are going to second guess you. If the customer experience with your business isn't premium, then of course they're going to second guess you, or you're not going to build that trust with the customer initially. You need to be building trust with the customer, increasing the perceived value of your business via branding and your image, and these will all help at the end of the day get more customers to pay or to make a decision to use your services without second guessing whether or not you are the expert and you will deliver on the service that you have promised. Okay, branding is very important, right? Now, if you look at all of my branding, it looks simplistic, it looks premium, and at the end of the day, I'm not a premium detailer, but I've created a business that speaks premium. We get people turning up with supercars simply because our business looks premium. We are just normal detailers like every other detailer, but we've developed a brand that looks premium and speaks premium. And we've also focused on ceramic coatings, right? We specialize in ceramic coatings. We do all services, but at the front of our marketing, it's like ceramic coatings. We do ceramic coatings, okay? Because that's the service we want to push. And our brand and our image justifies those higher prices. All right, quick shout out to Jobber, the sponsor of this video. Now, we've been using Jobber for about 2 months, I want to say, and honestly, it's been a game changer. We've been able to increase our revenue dramatically, okay? Jobber has definitely played a part simply because it's enabled us to make bookings easy, seamless, send out confirmations to the customers, and also just a place to be able to manage everything in one place, okay? So we can send out invoices, we can send out quotes. We use it for a whole range of different features. I use it for my team. They check in, they check out every day so I can track all of their hours, and we can check all of the revenue that we've made inside of our business and track all of the costs and expenses. And there's just so much you can do within this app. Highly recommend you go check out Jobber. So there's a link below to get a free trial for 2 weeks, and also there's a 20% off for the first 6 months. So go check that out. We use it, we love it, I highly recommend it. So thanks, Jobber. Okay, number 3. Now, if branding is important, our image is important, and marketing is important, then how do we actually just do more, right? And where are the places where we should do it? Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads. These 2 platforms are perfect for running paid ads. Now, Google Ads on one hand is targeting people that are ready to buy. They're looking for car detailing services, okay? Now, you rarely pick up ceramic coatings from Google Ads. We get a small fraction, but the majority of our customers that come from Google Ads are looking for car detailing every day, full details, interior details, exterior washes, right? And we pick up a few ceramic coatings here and there. But Google Ads is really good at picking up those low-hanging fruit, right? People who are actively searching for car detailing services. We get them in the door, and then we upsell. We upsell to ceramic coatings with these customers. So even though they're not looking for ceramic coating services, right? We get them in the door with a full detail, and then we say, hey, look, have you noticed these water stains on the paint? Have you noticed all this tar? Have you noticed these swirls? Well, guess what? We have the perfect solution for this problem, okay? And then boom, your sales strategy kicks in, you upsell to a ceramic coating service, okay? So Google Ads can be very effective, right? But they're limited to how many people are actively searching for car detailing services at any given time, okay? Sure, you could run an ad to, anyone who searches new Range Rover, and your ceramic coating ad could pop up, and this can work, right? But the most effective are just targeting people actively looking for car detailing services, right? On the other hand, you've got social media, right? Facebook and Instagram, very, very effective for targeting the broader market. So everyone else that's not actively looking, but would become a car detailing customer. Okay, with Meta, we push ceramic coating ads, right? We're heavy on ceramic coating ads with Meta, okay? And we get a ton of inquiries on a daily basis. So you can see in the screenshot, in the last 30 days, we've had like over 400 total leads, okay? And a big majority of them have come through Meta. And that's because Meta is more scalable. Depending on how big your target audience size is and your location will depend on like how much you can spend on a daily basis. But Meta is more scalable. You can target everyone, and then you can create the awareness, right? You create the awareness, you get people into your funnel, and then you nurture them, and then you use sales skills to convert them into a paying customer. This is where the bulk of our work comes from. It comes from Meta. The bulk of our ceramic coating jobs, they come from Meta, right? And it is very, very effective. As long as you've got a good sales process, a sales funnel dialed in, then you can get very high conversion rates. So our conversion rate on total leads is about 15%, okay? Now, our conversion rate with Meta leads specifically is about 10%. So that means for every 100 leads we get through Meta, we will convert about 10% of people, okay? Google Ads is a bit higher. It's like 30 to 40%. Now, once you start to understand those conversion rates, it just becomes a numbers game, right? As long as you are profitable, you have a good return on advertising budget, then you can scale to the moon. Well, you can scale depending on how big your audience size is, like I mentioned before, all right? Now, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google ads are the most effective advertising platforms for car detailers. You need to be advertising on these platforms. Now, along with that, you want to do some organic marketing. You want to have a website ranking high on Google. You want to have your social media, active. You want to be posting actively on social media, generating those organic leads. Okay, building up more trust, right? And there are many other organic marketing strategies, but if I was to pick 2 strategies that have really amplified and scaled our business, it would be running Meta ads and running Google ads. Okay, very effective. You have to pay to play, right? There's no such thing as a free customer. Even if someone walks in the door or someone calls you because they got a number of a friend, it wasn't free. You still had to put in work to create awareness out there. Leads cost energy or money. Customers cost energy or money. You have to pay for them. And a really important metric to understand inside of your business is your cost per customer or your cost per acquisition, how much it actually costs you to get a customer in the door. If you can understand that cost, then you know how much you can spend to get a new customer. Okay, step number 4. You need to sell like an absolute professional, okay? You need to learn the skills of sales. If marketing brings the leads in, creates the awareness, then sales converts that awareness into a paying customer. Without sales, you're going to struggle to, book more customers, right? Now, there's this, thing going out there in the detailing industry where detailers want to set up a self-booking system, and I've got friends who run successful detailing businesses. I'm talking $30,000-$40,000 a month, and they have a self-booking system, right? And they're booking 50% of their total customers through this self-booking system. And I'm like, cool, you've got a successful business going, you're making good revenue, right? And it's relatively hands-off, self-booking. Customers are booking in themselves, but it is the lowest form of conversion, right? And what I mean by that is there is a much lower rate of conversion when someone self-books as opposed to if you're with someone in person or you're talking to someone over the phone, as opposed to if there's a human touch element in there. You're actually helping the customer book in by talking with them, by going through the process. Okay, now I want to run you through the levels of conversion when it comes to booking customers in. At the very top, the highest form of conversion is actually seeing the customer in person, right? Doing a consultation with them or just going and talking with them in person. Maybe you've seen them on the street. Okay, this is the highest form of conversion. The reason is because you can build trust with them. You can explain your services. You can explain the value that you can provide. Okay, and you can just build trust and social proof by maybe showing them photos that or maybe you're working on a vehicle outside and, they've walked past and, you can actually show them the job that you're doing. Okay, so you're building more trust and more social proof. So that's the highest form of conversion, in person. Obviously, that is not practical for every mobile car detailer. You don't want to just be driving around to everyone's house and then getting rejected because that's a lot of travel time, right? So the second highest and, the most likely or probably the most beneficial is over the phone. Okay, booking them over the phone, contacting the lead. Okay, calling them up, following up, right, and booking them over the phone. This is the most, popular or the most beneficial way to actually book someone in. Then you've got messaging back and forth in the DMs. You've got email, super slow and sluggish, right? And then at the very bottom, you've got self-booking. You've got self-booking simply because what happens is decision fatigue. People are going to go through, they're going to see a list, okay, and they're going to be like, I don't know which one to choose. I'm just going to choose the worst one. They get something called decision fatigue. It's a real thing. Look it up, okay? They get decision fatigue and they end up just choosing the worst option, right? Or they see the prices and a barrier goes up and they go, I don't need this right now. I'll do it later, right? And then they drop off. So the drop-off rate is crazy with a self-booking form, right? Now, the only time I would ever recommend you have a self-booking form is if you're only doing wash and vax, cheap wash and vax and interior details and cheap full details, right? It's the only time I ever recommend it. And if you're getting a shit ton of traffic through your website, that if you get a 50% drop-off rate or 70% drop-off rate, it doesn't matter, okay? Because you're making hundreds of thousands a month anyway with all of this opportunity coming through, all this traffic coming through website. Even still, I don't recommend it, okay? Because you could 2x, 3x, maybe even 5x your revenue by just implementing a salesperson. Okay. Now at the start, in the early stages, that salesperson needs to be you. You need to be the one contacting every inquiry, every lead that comes into your business. Okay. You need to be getting on the phone with them and booking them in. If you have that salesperson in place, okay, your conversion rate's going to go up dramatically as opposed to just going back and forth in the DMs or getting them to self-book. Learn sales, right? And get on the phone with every single lead. And if possible, go and have a consultation with them. Okay. Especially if you're offering, $1,000 plus services. In some cases, it's much easier just to say, hey, look, you're just down the road. How about tomorrow? I'll come over. I'll have a quick look at the car with you. No hidden costs at all. Completely complimentary. I'll have a look at the vehicle with you, go over a few things with you, and then we can work out the best service, the best price for you from there. Guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to book them in, okay? Simply because you've shown up, you've proven that you're serious about this, you've built trust with the customer in person, and, you've actually had a look at their vehicle and you've priced up a legit price. Okay, 9 times out of 10, you're going to book them in. Easiest way to book in a ceramic coating service is a consultation. Okay, number 5, and like I said, the most important step of them all. Without this, your business is going to fall apart, and you're definitely not going to be able to scale above $20,000 or $30,000 per month. Okay, and that is you need to build a team. You need to build systems. Right now, let's talk about the team part. It becomes very important to get a detailer on board as soon as you start doing some serious numbers. And I mean, even serious numbers could be as little as $5,000 a month. You're doing $5,000 a month. You're going to quickly realize that is a lot of work. Okay. And to manage everything, including managing the leads, managing the marketing, and then obviously managing all of the workload, it is going to become quite a lot. Right. Now, I always say this, the easiest task to outsource straight away is the actual detailing work itself. Right. It is not rocket science to get someone to help you vacuum the interior. It is not rocket science to get someone to help you detail the wheels, to help you wash the exterior, okay? It's not that difficult to polish a vehicle, right? It's not going to take too long, okay? So hiring a technician or a detailer, okay, is one of the first hires that I would make, okay? Because that is the most expensive part of this whole business, right? The most expensive, biggest expense is your time doing the work, fulfilling the work, okay? So the quicker you can actually get help to decrease the amount of time it takes you to do the work, right? The more work you can actually fulfill, right? And then the more time you're going to have to be able to get more customers on your calendar. And you'll quickly realize, right? If you get someone working with you, you're never going to work by yourself ever again. It becomes really boring, and you can do like double the work, and it just makes you realize, shit, I could get this job done twice as fast if I had someone working with me, which is going to give me more time to work on the business or get more work, do more work, right? So build a team fast, okay? And then as you start to grow, you get more members. You could set up another van, you could, and then look at hiring a sales rep potentially to help manage the leads. Okay, we've just hired our first sales rep, and basically he's taken off the load of me having to manage all of the leads inside of the pipeline so that I can focus on the strategy, the systems, the direction, and really growing the business to the next level. So eventually you want to hire a sales rep that can take over that. You need to work out where your skills lie, okay? Where are your skills? And then you want to hire people that can actually do the things that you're not so good at, okay? If you're not so good at marketing, then hire someone to do the marketing. If you're not so good at sales, then hire someone to do the sales. Although I do recommend you learn sales as best as you possibly can before you outsource that. If you're not so good at writing emails, you hire someone to write emails, okay? So look at the tasks or the skills that you're not so good at. Hire people better than you to do those skills so that you can work on the skills that you are good at. And most of the time, those skills are going to be the direction of the business, managing the business, managing the team, building that culture, and ultimately the building the vision of the business. All right. So the systems become very important, because without systems inside of a business, it's going to fall apart. So I break a business down into 5 core functions, and you could think of these as individual systems. And then under each of these 5 core functions, they have their own sort of systems going on as well. Right. But if I was to give you a sort of high level overview of these 5 core functions, it is lead generation, right? That is the first of them. You need to attract leads into your business. Then you've got lead nurture, where you need to build trust inside of the business, okay, with the customer, with that lead. You need to build trust with that lead, right? And then you've got conversion, right, where you actually need to book that lead into the calendar using sales strategy, right? Have you got scripts? Okay, are you actually reading off something? And then are you making it better and better each time? By the way, if you want to get a full script, check out the link below. I've got a script on how to increase your conversion rate, okay? Go check out the link below for some resources there. But 3 is conversion, okay? Booking customers into the calendar. 4 is the detailed process, okay, or fulfillment, okay, actually doing the work. And then 5 is retention and optimization, okay, keeping customers coming back again and again and again, right? And then optimizing all of these together, okay, making sure the business is optimized. Are you hitting your KPIs, right? Have you even got KPIs, key performance indicators, all right? So, a lot to unpack there, guys. I'm not going to go through the rest of those 5 core functions. I do have a specific video on it. Check out the link below for some free, or the description below for some free resources. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next video. Let's get it.